welcome to the ServiceMaster Podcast. Today we have Grant from Rosemary Bookkeeping, North Kent and Isle of Sheppey. How are you doing, Grant? You all right?
Hi there, Tim. Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you. Looking forward to the week ahead, really.
Good. Yes. So we'll go into a bit more detail about what you do during a week or average week with Rosemary Bookkeeping. But first of all, just tell us a bit about yourself and how you got into bookkeeping, etc.
Okay. So as far as it goes, as you know, my name is Grant Dye. I am a franchisee partner with Rosemary Bookkeeping for the North Kent and Isle of Sheppey area. And as far as that goes, I have been with Rosemary for just over a year. It's been a fantastic year as far as I'm concerned, bearing in mind, you know, what we've been having to deal with on a daily basis. It's not been easy, but when it's come down to it, I've been managed to, I suppose, work with some great partnerships in businesses locally, and it's been a fantastic journey so far, and I look forward to it in the near future going forward as well for the next so many years.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, as far as it goes, just something to note about the franchise itself is that it's made up of several franchisee partners throughout. Okay, so if there is some need or requirement where I can't fulfill it, then there's also other franchisee partners out there that will help. And if, God forbid, if I do fall ill at any point in the time, then there's also someone there in the background to jump in at a moment's notice and help and support that business or client.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're great network. So, great network to work with and fantastic. Okay, so just tell us a bit about what your week usually entails then. So what is bookkeeping in a sense, and what do you do during an average week?
Okay, so my week varies a fair bit. You wouldn't think so with just the title of bookkeeping services in there, but I guess each franchisee partner will have a fair number of skills and sets and so on that they can actually provide and partner with local businesses. And therefore, that's what gives each one of them, that unique quality. They have that experience that they bring with them, and they transfer that experience over from their past. So for myself personally, I bring with me a fair amount of experience, 30 odd years in the finance sector, and as a qualified accountant as well, with 10 years worth of post experience of being qualified. I bring with me some element of budgeting, forecasting and cash flow projection, which is slightly different to the norm from others. I've also partnered with a payroll provider so I can payroll facilitate on behalf of a client, which means in the middle, and I make sure that the coordination works between the client and the payroll bureau that I work with. So that's a great service provider there. As far as the work stuff that I deal with on a weekly basis, I could be doing anything really from cash flow projection, as I say, for a company or client, and that I have a tool fluidly which allows me to process that through, adjust, create scenario and so on around that. So that's fantastic. I also will, this morning I just was setting up a default for a set of accounts or management accounts on Sage, where I was adapting and creating it slightly differently to the normal, and then resetting it as a new layout effectively. So there's that fantastic capability of doing that, which is brilliant. I also have done, last week I was looking at bank reports that I needed to produce for some clients, and they need that on a periodic quarterly basis. So to set up something readily available so that it can then just produce the numbers at the back end once I've reviewed and reconciled what I've needed to within the system. I've worked within various different software packages, so I deal with QuickBooks Xero and Sage as well. You know, the Sage ones are either cloud-based or desktop, and so I have a remote access ability for that as well. So I'd say that flavour of a week, really. But that's obviously not all of it, but that's just a flavour.
Of course. Yeah. Okay. So what is bookkeeping in a sense? Can you do that in a short sentence or not as much?
I see bookkeeping as the I suppose let's do an analogy, bookkeeping versus accounting, or accountancy.
Yep, no worries.
So I see it as a very sturdy, structured day-to-day process that bookkeeping do. And what that allows is to create a fabulous foundation for accountants to come along and build their skyscrapers effectively on it. You know,
Okay,
they're wonderful structures, but because the structure is so sturdy, it really allows that to be done easily and simply.
Yep.
So let's go into that a little bit more. So from a bookkeeping point of view, as I say, it's a day-to-day management process, which produces out the back end of it some information that can be used by clients and also accountants as well, and banks and so on.
Okay.
For them to make decision making. It doesn't have to be with the accountant to do that. Bookkeepers can do that just as well anyway. It's more to do with, I suppose, the advice that's lent with it.
Yeah.
The accountants are best placed for that advice to be given because they have more knowledge of tax and so on than bookkeepers. So bookkeepers will get the day-to-day management tools all set up and running. They will be able to provide VAT for their clients.
Yeah.
And also just generally being able to support and partner those businesses on a daily basis, communicating with them, setting up meetings to see where they're at, where they want to be going in the future. How does that affect your processes? How does it affect your bookkeeping? And it's just generally listening to your clients is key. It really is, because if you don't listen, you just miss it, and they just don't think you're there for them.
Yeah.
So for me, listening is key.
Okay. So jumping on to the next question there, do you have your clients, they have like the similar issues normally, or does it vary quite a bit?
It does. I mean, the issues, as I've mentioned just recently, they could be having cash flow issues. So for me personally, because I've been trained, I've had experience in that side of it, I can produce that kind of information which is realistic and reasonable for them to make decisions on. Obviously, in the loop, they're accountants as well, so that that everybody knows what's going on. So Fluidly allows me to do that very simplistically, to be fair. A lot of the information just flows directly through from the accounting software.
Yeah.
Gives me the choice of, do I want to go with what it's saying, or do I want to adapt and change it slightly, and the time as well. And that's what Fluidly does for me as far as that goes. And then gives the client confidence that it is actually coming from something that is fundamental, rather than it being sheets and the chance of maybe errors and things like that coming through there.
Yeah.
So that's a typical example of something, that goes on with issues. Another one could be, I have the capability of creating a company from scratch on Sage. So I have a Sage license, which gives the platform now for clients. And some clients come to me, new prospective clients, and they say, okay, I haven't actually got anything to use at the moment, just spreadsheets. That's not working for me anymore. Is there something that you could offer me that will allow, me to take that forward either digitally, because I've heard of Making Tax Digital. I need to get VAT sorted out and become Making Tax Digital, need to sign up for it. And I don't know how to go about it. How do I do that? So that's where I would come in, and I would advise, that platform as an option. I also have QuickBooks as well as options, and it allows me to help that client and support that client and get them out of I suppose, a horrible situation from their point of view, because they've got no idea how to deal with that. But it's fairly straightforward and simple from our point of view as a franchisee partner, bookkeeping one, because we know that knowledge. we can
course.
pass that, we can help them out, and
Yeah.
it generally is good to be able to help clients.
Fantastic. Okay. So another question. There's obviously times of the year where are busier than others. What are those times of the year and why are they busier then?
I mean, the way I work with potential and existing clients is that I try to smooth out some of that along the way. So I, if it's possible, and they're in agreement, then I look to work on things on a monthly basis.
Okay.
So I bill up front for a standing order, which they'll pay by a certain date. So that is generally the general bookkeeping services side of things would be done that way. If there is, I don't know, a one-off in the year, which would include, liaising with accountants, their accountants and so on, and doing year-end files, review files, then really that's the sort of thing that can crop up once in a while. But even that, I try to dovetail into this monthly process. Leaving obviously a few things to be done at year end, which will have to be done anyway at that point.
Okay.
And make sure that the accounts look reasonable. The other things that I tend to not include within that standing order are, like I say, cash flow projections and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Bank reports is another. And if a client is not happy with having a fixed fee and they want to just vary it along a period of time, but they know roughly what it's likely to be, then I tend to stick with that. So I suppose the variations through the year are year end. VAT can be smoothed out a bit, but it depends how many of those you have per quarter or per year or monthly, because I have a few of each of those. Also, I would suggest if you're providing a payroll service or you're providing a payroll facilitation, which is what I do, then there is certain times in the year where, from a tax reason, year-end tax side of things, that can become a little bit more burdensome or more involved with what goes on. But like I say, I try to smooth out the month as much as I can do, so that it makes it not just me, but for clients and everything else, and they know what their cash flow is likely to be each time.
Okay. You've kind of answered this already, but why should a business owner have a bookkeeper if they already have an accountant?
Okay. I think this is one which a lot of people really don't understand, or they have a niggling feeling in the back of their mind. Do I really need both? What's the point of that? What it boils down to is that accountants, yes, they're trained to start off with to look at bookkeeping, but then they're more honed in to give you year-end financial information and file those reports with Companies House, to look at tax, and to also provide advice on when a company is looking to either grow or whether they have started up and therefore they're not quite sure what to do. The accountant is that side of it. The bookkeepers, as I said before, is really to build the confidence of the client in their set of numbers. It's to give that kind of experience within bookkeeping through to the client, so that they are happy to look at a set of numbers. We can go through them, discuss them. They can then look at that and go, well, okay, how does that affect this? If I was looking to do that, how would it affect, the ongoing process of that? If I was looking to bring in a new person, hire a new person, if I was looking to grow my income by a certain amount of numbers, then really a bookkeeper allows that conversation to happen. For me personally, I can take that a little bit further, and I can provide a set of cash flow numbers which allows that to actually show within their decision making, and they can then take that forward. So a lot of bookkeepers will have a lot of attributes, they'll have a lot of skill sets. Some of them will be slightly different to others, and that's why I try to avoid away from a value side of things, a cost side of things. I try to look at value of what that bookkeeper or that accountant is bringing to the table.
Okay.
And that you listen and you show that to the client so that they can see that way. Actually, I don't mind, doing that because I know what I'm getting for it.
Yeah. Makes sense. So just a quick one on last year. So obviously from a COVID point of view, did you see any difference in the amount of businesses you potentially had clients for or anything like that at all during last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as it goes, Tim, there's a few underlying things here. There is the caution that clients will have over that time frame. Not knowing whether they've got enough money to do things, they will want to focus probably straight away on things that they can deal with themselves.
Yeah.
So that would be the first thing, is that where would their extra money come from to pay for a bookkeeping service, say, for instance. What they don't understand is that actually a bookkeeping service is there to take that burden away from them so that they don't have to give that time to it.
Right. Yeah.
Time to it, they're actually giving some of their own resource and time up to do that, which, if looked at probably cost versus the resource side of things that they're actually spending their own time on, it's probably cost neutral, to be fair, in most cases. I would suggest maybe a slight amount, but to be fair, their charge out rates are more than ours.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, that would probably be the situation. So there was I suppose, an area of caution there from potential clients. Secondly, was the influx of new people that had come in to offer the service provision. There was a lot more people either made redundant or looking to find some spare money from somewhere, and had the skill set to become keepers, and they'd set up their businesses and so on to do that.
Okay.
There's others that might not actually have the skill set, but they've still decided that that's what they want to do as well. So there is an element of both there. So you have to be a bit cautious about that.
Okay.
Competition was pretty thick out there over that time frame.
Right. Okay.
And therefore, trying to win new clients or gain their trust or so on is a little bit harder over that time. However, what it did enable me to do is start thinking a little bit more around what type of clients I wanted to attract to my portfolio. And that tended to be more the sort of tail end clients, which allowed me to do more for them on a monthly basis, which also gave the opportunity to support and partner them in various different ways. Yeah. Not just the general bookkeeping service provided, but also the other services that I give, cash flow around the forecasting, the budgeting, and so on. Okay. So that kind of service provisions is quite key to any business, really, whether or not it be a bookkeeping business or whether it be a business that is asking for a bookkeeper to do that work for them. So it's key from their point of view that they know that they know there's other things that are out there that you can help them with if the need arises.
Makes sense.
So really, yes, it did impact the growth of my company that year. I mean, I had projections, I had business plans of what that's likely to be. But what I did find was that if you're not able to get that business plan to become fruition, then there's other ways that the government will have helped you out on that. Now, for a new startup business, in the first year and not actually having any accounts, so as to speak, to have filed, it was a little bit harder, I have to admit.
Right. Okay.
There was really the only one thing that I could have gone for was the bounce back loan.
Right. Yep.
That was the only one that I could ask for. The rest of it was pretty much geared towards people that had either been in business for some time or they had payroll provision in there for a period of time. And unfortunately, I didn't at that time. I wasn't paying myself any money.
Right.
But that's the way that's a set-up company is. You have to not bankrupt your company straight away by actually paying yourself something unrealistic. You've got to take your time and then decide to build that up. So first year, yes, it was tough. I won't deny that. It was difficult. However, there was always something there, opportunities there to gain, new clients and so on. So I think you being able to potential clients, ask them what they want. Does it fit with what you can offer?
Yeah.
And then you start, once you know what they require, then you can start laying down, okay, I can provide this, I can provide that, but just so that there is this extra stuff over here that I also do.
Okay.
So wish to at a later date. And it's those conversations which generally I think help clients to make their minds up whether they want to go with that particular bookkeeper or not.
Okay, fantastic. Is there anything else you think you'd like to cover during this session at all, Grant?
I think generally, if you're wavering on whether to go with a bookkeeper or an accountant, I think if you weigh up what it is you really need and understand what each of the two roles do, then I think the decision is fairly straightforward, to be fair. But it's the understanding behind it. It's what is a bookkeeper and what is an accountant, and how do they collaborate and work together as a partnership?
Yeah.
Because I have that relationship with accountants. That's something locally that I have with several accountants now, where I partner with them, I help and assist them, I support them, but I also refer, and they will refer back down to me as well. So I guess what to say is that there is no, I suppose, there's no right or wrong answer with this, but if you really understand what a bookkeeper and an accountant do, then the answer is fairly straightforward, that you need both, to be fair.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up then, Grant. So massive thanks for coming on. And
that's all right.
And yeah,
it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Tim.
You're very welcome. Take care. Bye-bye.